Okay, this video is called Why All the Muscle Bound Chicks. Okay, and so what this is about is every time I click on the internet, I see this big female power lifter, lifting weights, doing a deadlift or walking around flexing big muscles. But in real life, I never see that. Okay, there's something strange going on. Nothing gets promoted that much on the internet unless there's some big reason for it. There's big money behind this. Now, I've seen a lot of weightlifters, but they're always men. The ones I've seen, weightlifting contests, the Olympic weightlifting contest. I've seen powerlifting contests, and there's Olympic lifting. A woman typically has the strength of a boy in about sixth or seventh grade, and I know that because of what I've seen. But also, I had an experience whereby, I was in sixth grade. I won the village wrestling championship. I came home and I was kind of acting stuck up or something, and I pissed off my mother. My mother picked me up and threw me on the bed quite aggressively. And I was like, wow, my mom could kick my ass. And I was surprised by that. But by the next year, I had gained another 15 pounds, all muscle, and there was no way in a million years my mom could beat me up at that point, okay? And my mom was a really athletic woman. She was, champion of the tennis club in tennis and stuff. She'd been a swimmer in college. She was an athletic lady. Okay, so anyways, after puberty, men become much stronger than women. And I think it's because, women got the tiny little shoulders, and that's because they needed to not have extra weight beyond necessary because everybody worried about starving to death in those days. Okay, women tend to have big butts and upper thighs, and that's because that's an energetically efficient area for them to carry omega-3 fats. So a woman's designed, an animal has to be designed so that it can reproduce to survive. Okay, so that's how a woman is designed. And a man is designed to be kind of strong physically in comparison so he can go get food for mama and the baby. I mean, when I grew up, that's exactly how my parents were. My dad was a workaholic, and he provided lots of money for the rest of the family to, have their lives. My mom never had to work. And that's how it was with all my friends, too. Just about every single one I can think of and remember. And so what I'm saying is, I grew up with a complete expectation I would do the same thing, and that that's a normal thing for a man to do. To go get an education or training, get a job, and provide for his wife and children, okay? And in return, he expects to get proof of paternity. She doesn't cheat on him. The kids are really his, and they try to help each other and get through life and have a nice life. That was just normal, okay? And homosexuality was rare when I was growing up, at least as far as I knew of. I never knew a single kid that was a homosexual in grade school or high school. I'm sure there were some who kept it a secret, but it was uncommon enough that nobody talked about it, nobody knew about it. You couldn't even wear an earring when I was young. There was some movie, I don't remember the movie, but you would get picked on or somebody would give you a hard time. And you didn't often see a man wearing a bracelet, okay? I was a wrestler too. Every day I had to go to wrestling practice. I wrestled almost all year round, quite a bit of my life. And I wouldn't ever want anything on me that I'd have to take off before wrestling practice, okay? Or if you live in a bad neighborhood, you don't want that because you worry about getting into a fight and you don't want that to get, taken off your body or something. I still don't wear any of that kind of stuff. Anyways, okay, what else? Some people think that this idea of all these muscle-bound women is a celebration of women. I don't think so. I don't think so. I see the modern age as not trying to help women, but as almost like trying to get rid of them, okay? They go to school and they're trying to sterilize the girls. Abortion is promoted. They don't want them having babies. There's all these chemicals in the food, in the water to sterilize women with regard to all the estrogenic chemicals, EE2, ethinyl estradiol in the water, as well as the PCBs, BPA, phthalates, etc. They're spraying atrazine on the corn to sterilize people. They're promoting soy, which can contribute to sterilization of people. The goal is to decrease the number of people, not to help women have happy families. Okay, and then so why is this happening? I think it's some form. Why is all these muscle-bound chicks on my internet feed every time I go on the internet? I think it is a form of gaslighting, in a sense, a deliberate attempt to confuse people. More of this idea of men and women are basically the same. No, men and women are quite different. Anybody that's been around the two. Besides one having a Johnson and the other one having a Virginia, there's a lot of differences between men and women. They have the babies, okay? They raise the babies. And also what I've noticed is a woman has more in common with a child. And what I mean by that is, for example, my grandchild visited recently, okay? my wife went nuts. She's going gaga goo goo, crawling on the floor, talking to the kid all day long. She's so happy. And I'm like, I'm nice. I enjoy seeing the kid, but we're just not that emotionally content. And we love kids. Okay, don't get me wrong, we love our kids. But what I'm saying is, we're not like a woman. Okay, she's crawling on the floor, playing games. Dressing the kid up. You know, buying dolls, setting up a doll playhouse. I mean, she was so happy and excited, man. It's a guy's not like that, okay? We're much more of a solitary animal, okay? We are not in the middle of, I couldn't watch a preschool. I'd be bored out of my mind. I would start reading a book and lose track of the kids. I couldn't do that. Okay, what else? I think there's a big push in the modern world to largely replace women. They've ruined women's sports by having, persons in there who are so much stronger than them. It's not fair. There's all this talk about replacing women with servants and internet, porno. Why is this happening? To promote this other, gender stuff? I don't know. And also there's, I think, this promotion of feminism, promotion of this idea that women don't need men. And my wife got some of that in her head one day. One day she said to me something, like I said, you're so lucky I provide for you and make all these nice things in your life for you. And she's like, I don't need nothing from you except one thing, just one thing. All I needed from you was one sperm for each kid, and that's it. And I'm like, oh, gee, that was appreciative. Okay, but what I'm trying to say is, women certainly like a guy around to help them when they got to change a tire on their car, all right? And also there's this idea, almost like this pretend idea that women are so physically strong and we don't even need men, and women could, defend our country, from its open border or something. But in real life, if you've studied history, you'll see there's a familiar pattern, all the way, let's say, look in Rome, the Sabine women, for example. When there's a foreign invader, the men fight to defend the country, and if the men are defeated and lose, the women get, this word I can't say here, R-A, E-D. Okay, then, or killed. And then the women and the children, the ones that are still alive, they're sold into slavery, or they're, this word right here, K-I-L-E-D. Okay, I've never heard of women without men successfully fighting off a foreign invasion. So there's almost like this whole giant attempt through all these estrogenic chemicals in the food, the water, the personal care products, the detergents, the clothing, the soaps, the shampoos, the deodorants. It goes on and on and on. Feminizing the country and sort of wimpifying the country and de-Christianizing the country. And I don't know how to explain it, but I think you know what I'm saying here. All of this stuff is making the country more weak, and all this feminism makes men and women not talk to each other. And everybody's sort of separate and weak, and the country's weak, and it's kind of going down the tubes. But anyways, I just noticed that, maybe else somebody, if anyone has an interesting insight, please share it in the comments.